Title: Ex-wife regrets cheating, husband goes no contact. Yabaibodi. I'm leading a goal of 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I truly believe we can achieve it together. So if you could hit that subscribe button, it would really mean a lot to me. Now, let's dive into the story. To the husband I betrayed, please find it in your heart to forgive me before it's too late. This is an open, heartfelt letter from a divorced woman whose affair shattered her marriage. It's your birthday today. Wherever you are, I hope you're healthy and happy. Thank you for all the wonderful years we shared together. I'm sorry. With all sincerity, when I made my vows to you, I meant every word. I never imagined I would betray you the way I did. Everything was so wonderful, yet I threw it all away. How could I have been so foolish? When the divorce papers arrived and I saw that you'd cited adultery, it hurt deeply. I don't blame you, though. 20 years ago, I, Nina Joy, now 53, had an affair that ended our marriage. Recently diagnosed with stage 4 incurable cancer, though now in remission, I'm reaching out to seek forgiveness from you, my estranged ex-husband. As a motivational speaker and author, I've spent years reflecting on our past. We were together for 16 years, and my actions destroyed that. In this letter, I finally want to say I'm sorry. Last Valentine's Day weekend, you came to mind, as you often do. Your birthday is the day after Valentine's Day, so the heart-shaped balloons, red roses, and couples-filling restaurants always remind me of you. I suddenly felt compelled to reach out wherever you might be. I logged onto Twitter and Facebook and posted a simple message. It's my ex-husband's birthday today. Hope you're healthy and happy wherever you are. Thank you for many wonderful years together. I'm sorry. The responses from friends and followers were touching. They said it was lovely to send such a heartfelt message. Naturally, they wondered why I was apologizing and what for. The answer is simple: I seek forgiveness. It's a word I've thought about a great deal in the past 3 years, and I'll explain why shortly. But essentially, I want to convey how deeply I regret my actions, and I hope you can forgive me. It's been 38 years since we first met. We were teenagers in 1977. You were 18, and I was 16. A trained chef, you'd left the demanding restaurant hours and were working at a greengrocer's. I was attending college and would come by every lunchtime to buy an apple, an excuse to flirt. On Friday nights, I'd make sure our group of friends crossed paths so we could chat. You were tall, dark, and handsome, and I was smitten. We had an on and off relationship for several years, but became serious after my 21st birthday party. You became part of my family. My parents adored you, as did my sister and her fiancé. We'd often go out together, enjoying meals, parties, and outings. Those were very happy times, and I hope you remember them fondly. Eventually, we started discussing our future together. In a nod to tradition, you asked my father for my hand in marriage. You proposed on Bonfire Night in 1985, wanting to give me a sparkler, a beautiful ring with 9 diamonds. I was over the moon. Do you remember how I suddenly started using my left hand for everything, just to show off the ring? We began building our life as a couple. You left the greengrocers and took a job at an engineering firm. Together with my salary from the building society where I worked, we saved enough for our wedding in July 1986. It was a beautiful church ceremony, and the reception was held in my parents' garden. I was the happiest woman in the world. With all sincerity, when I said my vows, I meant them. I never thought I'd betray you as I did. At first, married life was everything I'd dreamed of. You were my partner in crime, and I know you felt the same. Our home was the center of gatherings, as we loved hosting friends and family. You never forgot my birthday or our anniversary, not that it was about grand gifts, but small, thoughtful gestures. You'd bring me coffee in bed and use your chef skills to make even simple desserts special when I was dieting. It was all so wonderful, yet I threw it all away. How could I have been so foolish? Children weren't on the agenda. We were too busy enjoying life. I wonder if, had we been together longer, we might have started a family. I know you would have made a great father, but it wasn't meant to be. 6 years into our marriage, things went terribly wrong. We moved to a bigger house, taking on a large mortgage when interest rates were high. As the main breadwinner, I felt the pressure, but I believed we'd manage. We were a team. But you'd been unhappy at work and one day quit without discussing it with me. I was devastated. Suddenly, we had huge financial responsibilities and only one income. Our arguments were heated and explosive. Angry and resentful, I set myself on a destructive path that led me away from you and into the arms of a colleague. I don't blame you for how I reacted. It was entirely my doing. But sometimes I wonder what might have happened if you'd talked to me before quitting your job. I would have supported you. John was someone I'd worked with for 10 years. He was always flirting with me. I was attracted to him but always rebuffed his advances, telling him I was happily married, which I was. But one day, after you'd called me at the office about a failed job interview, John found me crying. He took me to lunch to calm me down, and that's how it began. One lunch turned into several, then evenings out and working late, eventually becoming a full-blown affair. Because my job involved travel and overnight trips, it wasn't hard to hide what I was doing. It's no excuse, but John caught me at a low point in our marriage. Yes, I was vulnerable, but I could have said no. Ultimately, I was looking for something to make me feel good, to escape the stress at home. John wasn't just a meaningless fling. I fell in love with him, even though I still loved you. Some might say it's impossible to love two people at once, but I know it's not. I knew I should stop seeing John, but an affair is like a drug. It's addictive. Living a double life was stressful, but the highs kept me going back. In hindsight, I can't believe I did it. It's a mistake I've learned from, but at the time I was in too deep. Meanwhile, our relationship was deteriorating. We'd stopped communicating and laughing. We became distant. My behavior must have raised your suspicions. A few months later, after my work Christmas party at a country hotel, you confronted me. Had you been watching my colleagues that night, wondering who it was? Thankfully, John wasn't there, but you sensed something. Back in our room, you simply asked, "Are you seeing someone?" Those few seconds remain the worst of my life. Standing opposite you, a man I still loved deeply, I was terrified because I knew my next words would break your heart, and they did. I'm not a good liar. I had to tell you the truth. You ran to the bathroom and threw up. I couldn't have hurt you more if I'd stabbed you in the back. We both cried as the truth came out. Eventually, we fell asleep holding each other, exhausted and in shock. The next day is a blur. We left the hotel early, wanting to be home. I remember explaining again why the affair had started, that I needed someone to talk to. You, being honorable and dignified, even tried to understand your part in the situation. At first, we thought we could work it out. Admitting to the affair was, in some ways, a relief. I'd been living a lie. We both felt a sense of moving forward, though we didn't know how. One hurdle was that I still worked with John. We couldn't afford for me to quit, so I continued at the same office, but told John we had to stop. Unfortunately, that was harder than I expected. I really did love him, and seeing him every day reignited the affair a few weeks later. You knew. Every time I left for work, your mind must have been filled with suspicions. Eventually, we couldn't take it anymore. When you told me you could no longer trust me, we agreed our marriage was over. I felt I'd ruined everything, let you down, let my family down, and let myself down. My family was distraught. They supported me but missed you and the happy times we shared. I never spoke to your family again. We should both be proud that our divorce wasn't hostile. We agreed there would be no lawyers and lived separately so we could divorce automatically after 2 years. You moved out, and although we spoke on the phone, it was as clean a break as possible. Still, when the divorce papers came citing adultery, it hurt. I don't blame you, though. What a sad ending to our story. John and I were together for 15 years afterward, though we chose not to have children. For years after the divorce, I carried immense guilt and took a while to feel happy again, but I did eventually. Sadly, John and I drifted apart and separated in 2005. Inevitably, I wondered if leaving you was worth it. But I'd had many good years with John, and I hope you found happiness too. Perhaps it was the right outcome for both of us. I've thought about you over the years. Whenever I hear "I Only Want to Be With You" by Dusty Springfield or a song by Dire Straits, I'm transported back to our time together. I've even seen you on the street in our town. When you moved into your new home, I called to apologize, but you hung up. Remember when we were in the same restaurant years after we split? You ignored me understandably, and I deserved that. I don't blame you. Losing contact with you was like a bereavement. In fact, it was worse. At least a bereavement isn't anyone's fault. I brought this on myself. Today, I have no idea where you are or what you're doing. I've heard snippets from friends and think you remarried and might have a stepdaughter. That's wonderful. You'd be an incredible dad and a loving husband to the right person. I truly hope that's the case. Please don't think this is a plea to reconnect. I know you've moved on, as have I. The last thing I want is to cause you more pain. Why am I apologizing now and so publicly? In 2012, I visited my doctor about a sudden change in my breast. Tests revealed cancer that had spread to my lymph nodes, lungs, bones, and liver. Stage 4, incurable. To give you an idea, there's no stage 5. About 50% of women with this diagnosis pass within 3.5 months. I was terrified, but my thoughts weren't about the past but the future I might miss. I don't believe cancer is caused by past actions, but I wondered if I'd see my niece marry or fall in love again. Bizarrely, I even wondered if I'd see the end of a Downton Abbey. But that was nearly 3 years ago and I'm still here. I believe it's because I'm dealing with the disease my own way. I've become a cancer maverick, writing 2 books about it. It's inspired me to become a motivational speaker. I haven't avoided conventional medicine entirely. I've paid nearly £40,000 for private chemotherapy at a German clinic, unavailable on the NHS, which targets tumors without damaging the entire immune system. I've also explored alternative treatments, therapies focusing on the mind, toxins, and nutrition. Some call these therapies wacky, but there's evidence to the contrary, and I'm living proof. Caring for your mind and spirit includes forgiveness, both giving and receiving. I learned this during an exercise at the German clinic last year, repeating phrases like "I'm sorry," "please forgive me," "thank you," and "I love you." It released negative emotions powerfully. Now I'm in remission. I have no cancer symptoms and am living life to the fullest. So you see, my apology isn't entirely selfless. Part of me thought you might want to know about my cancer. But I don't expect anything from you. Of course, I'd love your forgiveness, and knowing you as I did, I think you will. But you don't have to contact me. Simply thinking it or saying it aloud would be a lovely gesture. Even if you can't forgive me, I still stand by what I wrote last Valentine's weekend. I hope you're healthy and happy wherever you are, and I'm sorry. With love, Nina. Wow. Oh man, that whole "I was the breadwinner, so I felt like I could cheat" mentality. You guys know how many women cheat because their husband lost his job or makes less money? They start to look down on him. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. Let's say you're doing great. You meet a woman, she's happy you're taking care of her, handling everything. But anything can happen. You could lose your job or make less money, and suddenly her love for you is gone. Suddenly her colleague looks attractive. There was something already there, and you did all that to destroy your marriage, and it didn't even last with the affair partner. I'm glad this guy has gone no contact. I'm glad when she found his number and called to congratulate him, he didn't engage. I'm glad he didn't talk to her at the diner. That's how you have to be. When he sees her, he thinks, "That's my ex-wife," and walks the other way, acting like he doesn't know her, not out of malice, but because it's over. That's how it should be. No contact. She broke that man into pieces. He already felt down, less than a man couldn't provide, had this big mortgage, and she was covering it. He was trying to get back on his feet, and to fix things for herself, she cheated on him? That man probably felt like disappearing. I don't have a job, now my wife's cheating. Ridiculous. Guys, let me know what you think about this. Let's check out another story. I am in love but still crave attention from other men. I am a 24-year-old woman still figuring out my identity, especially regarding love and relationships. I have a desire to be adored by men. This started when I felt the pressure of the male gaze in movies, TV, books, everywhere. Men seem to want the ideal woman, beautiful but not vain, sexy but not sexual, up for pizza and beer but skinny, willing to comply with her partner's desires but not seek her own with others. As a teenager, these expectations consumed me. I secretly wanted to be every man's dream girl. Pathetic, right? I felt happy and successful when at least one or two guys were crushing on me. As a feminist, it pains me to admit I got so much validation from male attention. In college, I shed some of these unhealthy needs and fell in love with someone who accepts the real me, both my beauty and flaws. We've been dating for 2 years. We make each other laugh, he makes me feel desired and beautiful. Yet I'm still haunted by the shallow desire to be adored by other men. It makes me feel like a bad girlfriend, like I'm still chasing that high from a crush. Is this something everyone in relationships deals with? Will I grow out of it? Is there something missing from my relationship? Steve Almond replies, I'm struck by the word successful you used to describe how you felt when boys were crushing on you. This mindset is enforced by a patriarchal society designed to keep women from defining success in ways unrelated to male adoration. Rather than berating yourself, she continues, I'm happy my boyfriend makes me feel beautiful. He tells me how adorable I am, how great I am. But it's not enough. I'm not surprised. He's giving me what I told him to give me, he's giving me everything I want, but it's not enough. I have a right to go out and pursue more, you know. She admits she feels a bit bad about it, and I give her that. But does she really? That mindset of I can do what I want when I want, and as my boyfriend or husband, your duty is to accept that. No, that's not how it works. Cut it out. It's disgusting. Is it worth it? Guys ask that all the time. Why get with someone who feels like, if I feel like leaving after you've poured your heart out and given me everything, I have the right to do what I want. I can cheat if I want to. You can't tell me what to do. You don't own me. But let a guy say, yeah, you know what? I'm just not feeling it. I don't love you like I used to. I'm not attracted to you anymore. Let a guy do that. He's a piece of crap, a loser, a scumbag. Karma will get him. How dare he change his mind? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'll catch you guys later.